Okay, so last week we discussed this viral women-only app called Tea, which was intended for women to share dating safety tips with each other. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It was actually about snitching on men that they had met through dating apps, about their performance in bed, about their height, about whether they're a walking red flag for any number of reasons. So it was really always intended for women to run to this app and gossip about private individuals and reveal their information. I don't know how this is still out on the App Store, but it's still up. It quickly rose to #1, and it's still getting tons of downloads. Unfortunately for its user base, though, 4chan ended up somehow managing to hack into the information database of T, and they released the personal information of more than 1.6 million users, which includes selfies that they uploaded to the app, as well as driver's license photos and their names.
And I'm guessing that was to prove that they were women?
Supposedly, yes, but this is what they willingly gave to T.
Giving your driver's license,
giving
your driver's license to an app that new is crazy work.
Crazy for them to even do that in the first place. Their intentions also being to, expose men for their private information and dating habits is also deranged. So, am I going to be losing any sleep over knowing that these women have had their own identities doxxed online? No. This is a very clear case of karma, if that's something that you believe exists.
I was going to say, I don't know how I feel about karma, but if there was such an example, this would be it.
Yeah. So users' driver's license was used to verify that they were women, and they have been publicly leaked, containing their addresses and photos of their faces. And that is now being posted everywhere, and they look exactly as you would expect. I would say the average BMI of a T app user is somewhere in the 30s. Lots of tattoos, lots of face piercings, lots of hair dye. It's not a pretty sight to see. And now men have retaliated against these women by creating their own website, which I believe is called teespill. I haven't been able to find the URL.
This is the most, this might be the most indicative of where things are between men and women, which is somebody does something and then both sides respond.
And then everyone's ugly. Well, look at, can you pull up the teespill
leaderboard
app? Yeah. With the prior photo. Yeah, this is... Click on the void you prefer, so you can rate the faces of the T app user base, and then they end up on a leaderboard for who gets the most losses. And yeah, they look miserable.
They look really unhappy.
Yeah, they all look like miserable people. And of course they have trash values. And do I feel any sympathy for them? I don't, but I was wondering if you did.
May be one of those examples where it's like the app they were using specifically makes it very hard for me to muster up a lot of sympathy. I guess
I would probably download it just out of sheer curiosity for investigative reporting or something, but
look, this type of back and forth that men seem to be having on the internet makes it very hard for both sides to have any sympathy. I feel like it's good for your own soul to have it, even if sometimes they may not deserve it, for your own, more for your own well-being than for the well-being of others, meaning holding it against someone, even if you feel deep down that they deserve it, can sometimes be toxic to your own soul.
Yeah.
I tend to not operate under that premise, but that's also usually viewed as naive in today's day and age, that having a good amount of goodwill or giving people the benefit of the doubt, or even just being sympathetic or empathetic to people who may or may not deserve it, is just seen as callously by others, it's seen as a flaw. And I tend to not operate under that premise. For something like this, it's more I don't think about it. I'm not going to end up on this app, I'm sure. So
Yeah, but unfortunately, with an example like this, you're just confirming all of these men's worst assumptions about
Yeah.
the dating world and about women who are in the dating world, especially. Um,
I would hope that the hack kind of sobers up some of the people using it.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that perhaps they learn something new about themselves, or maybe perhaps they find that they're capable of more empathy and introspection. But I don't know if I would hold out. I wouldn't hold my breath and hope that that happens.
Yeah, it's hopefully a wake-up call for some of them, but I still see tons of women who didn't even download T clinging to the narrative that it's about warning each other of predatory criminal sex offenders in your area, which is just quite frankly delusional, okay? This app was never intended to do criminal background checks. You can do those without an app. That's why the sex offender registry exists. You can actually see who is in your area, who's on
Otherwise,
it.
it would be called criminality.
Right. But no, this was always for the purposes of leaning into, you know, toxic femininity and the specific vices that plague women the most, which tend to be gossip and vanity and reputational damage.
I think this is
and
one of those
shame.
things. This also might just be one of those things that, as a guy, I can't relate, because the idea of even remembering these types of things. It's like when women talk about, like, when a girl asks you, like, what happened to your friend, and you're like, bro, I don't know. Like, he's like, something happens, and you're like, oh, my friend said something. And they're like, what did he say? And you're like, oh, I don't remember. Like, I'm that way. Like, I don't remember. And I don't lose myself on details like this, but women love to commiserate through this type of...
Oh yeah, they love like
This is
telling
their thing.
stories about like just bad dates that they've been on or whatever. And I love hearing them in a private setting, not on the internet and not on TikTok or T. You know, those are conversations for friends to have. One of the reactions to this whole hacking scandal said, "I'm going to make an app called Coffee where the boys can warn each other on which girls are ran through."
Yeah.
And then another reply said, "Imagine the public outrage
But
there
that
would
wouldn't
be
work,
if
though,
this
because
happened."
guys wouldn't... That just, like, guys probably wouldn't do that. They, like...
No.
They wouldn't care.
They wouldn't do it.
Hold on.
Thank you. Well, because these women let men that they date from like Hinge live in their heads rent free, and that's why that's part of why they're miserable.
You give them a lot of power, too, by doing that.
Right.
Thank you.
And they just want to like take out their rage of, you know, their singlehood against random unsuspecting strangers who did nothing to you. You know, even if you showed up to a date and a guy was like kind of a jerk to you or something, there's no justification for running to a forum like this and putting him on blast and like airing dirty laundry. There's no reason for it.
So do you think that this is karma?
I don't believe karma exists, actually, but like if it did, this would be a great example. Here's the thing, though. I feel like this is just another one of those stories, like perhaps the street interview where women were asked about choosing the man or the bear, where it's just going to be imprinted on a lot of people's psyches for a long time, and it's going to give you a certain bias about the real world that actually is detaching you from reality. Like, the vast majority of women who are single in the dating world, on dating apps, they don't engage in behavior like this.
The problem is that this shows you exactly... I've had that feeling about most things, which is that what you see online is not representative of the world at large, but it is representative of a corner of the world that's given a lot more importance than it actually has. But the internet seems to be mostly about finding things that draw people's ire, open-ended questions that get people to talk. My favorite one the other day was somebody, like a woman asked on X, like, why do men spend 5 minutes in their car before coming in the house? And of course, everything is like, yeah, because they have to put up with your shit. They're stealing themselves to come in the house. Like, the point is to find ways to ask weird questions or philosophical ideas. It probably started with podcasts and the trolley problem. You create some thought experiment to make people have opinions, and because it fosters engagement online. Mm-hmm. And fostering engagement doesn't mean that it's indicative of the real world. If you post something, it goes extremely viral and 14 million people like it. Well, that's 14 million people in a planet of 8 billion. Uh-huh. Okay, that's not comparatively a lot, because it's not like you're even narrowing it down to your country. Half those are probably Indian bot farms.
True.
And even if it's 7 million people, even in your own country, at least in America, is not a lot, but it feels like a lot because of the amount of attention from, whether it's from news outlets or from the people you follow. You view the news outlets that you follow and the in the influencers that you follow and the independent media people that you follow as your window into the world, but they're not your window into the world. They're a window into a small corner of topics that garner enough attention to make worth talking about. And that's true of even the most independent of news sites.
Okay, what's weird to me, what causes me to, be a little suspicious about the prevalence of this app is people posting the geocodes for users. And pull up the tweet that I just sent you. They made searchable maps of T-app users' locations using the data that was unprotected. And this map is showing an almost universal, uniform adoption of it across every area in the country, which is really weird to me. You would think it would be more commonly downloaded in cities or coastal cities, Yeah. But they're telling you it's just as popular in San Francisco as it is in Nebraska. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah.
There's something weird about this. There's something fishy about it. Somebody posts a
picture and it's like an infographic. You believe it's true because it's made into an infographic.
Yeah, there's just something about this that seems off to me.
Yep.
However, the best case scenario that could result from this is probably a class action lawsuit against the developers of the app.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen, but I would love to see where that goes, because I think the men who had their information leaked on it have probable cause.
This doesn't feel real to me.
No, the map is very strange. There is no way you can convince me that just as many people have downloaded it in Oklahoma as they have in New York City. Come on now.
Guys, and girls, don't let algorithms and cleverly worded hypotheticals damage your views of other people. If you're going to have a negative view, how about this? At the very least, if you're going to have an awful view of an entire gender or group of people, let it be from examples that have actually happened to you in the real world, rather than letting your opinions of others be colored by hypotheticals and articles online.
Yeah, and I just want to share this comment that I got on Instagram because I made a video about the T app hack. This was, I think, exactly the type of reaction that you're referring to, where you can let a viral story like this really imprint on your psyche and let it drive you insane.
Okay.
He says, I hate women. I hate everybody, but I'm biologically cursed with the desire to love women, and they're the worst, so I hate them especially. I'm happy some of them are suffering the consequences of their actions. I agree with that part in the middle. But I'm not fooled by the ones who call out feminists. You're just cashing in. You're guilty too. I hate women. That is word for word the comment. And I was just like, what? The internet is one-shotting people. Yeah. This is crazy.
Look, and this goes for people who watch the show. We cover this stuff, we talk about it, but it's not something where when we do this, I don't want you to change your entire opinion of an entire group of people. At the very least, you should consider a ton of opinions from a ton of different people before kind of letting it imprint on you that you believe this about an entire gender or an entire group. I get it. it's easy to fall into that sort of death spiral because the internet does that to people these days. I think that's why I did something like delete X off my phone and actively work to spend as little time online as I can without it, hurting my job, which is, a requirement to kind of be up on this stuff. Like I sent you a bunch of stuff this weekend, and I had X on my phone because I had to go into DC. I was like, something's got to do. I have to have a self-soothing technique of some sort if I have to be in DC. See, DC, I hate DC purely on my own personal experience of driving there in the physical world. I hate it. I hate everything about Washington, D.C., but it's not because somebody online told me to hate Washington, D.C.
Great example.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.